In this video, I want to talk about something very, very important. Pain is an inevitable part of life, but suffering is absolutely optional. Suffering is something that we do with our pain, and pain is something that we need to actually embrace, look at, and learn from, and actually care for. So I want to actually completely rewire your relationship to your pain and help you to transcend a lot of the suffering that you experience. Keep in mind, these are deep things that we're talking about that are going to require quite a lot of inner work, guidance, books, meditation retreats. This is going to require genuine effort on your part, something that you're going to have to look into. So let's get right into this. Pain, for the most part, is an unpleasant sensation, and it's completely inevitable, meaning that we're going to experience it and there's absolutely nothing that we can do. You see, but suffering is something that we're doing with our pain. Suffering exists when we resist our pain, we don't want to look at it, we want to avoid it. It's when we dramatize our pain, we fight against our experience. Suffering is something that we're doing. Say it with me. Suffering is something that I am doing. The thing is we don't really know how we're doing it because we're so unconscious. See, we're doing it unconsciously over and over and over again. It is 100% a choice that we do without really recognizing that we're doing it for a lot of reasons. Number one, we don't really look at it. We don't apply mindful attention to it. Number two, the reasons and justifications we have for continuing our suffering, we can believe to be true and to be right and to be whatever. We don't want to let them go. Right? We're attached to them for whatever reason. I guess we just enjoy suffering. We even get addicted to our suffering in a lot of cases. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but just know that that exists. So struggling and resisting exists on multiple levels: the mind, emotion, and even a very physical level, right? So for example, I can have a story that basically aims to resist the present experience. I can have a feeling that I don't want to feel, and then I have this physical resistance as well in my body where it's habitually tense. I want you to actually look at your body right now. Notice that it's probably not very relaxed in a lot of places. Maybe in the gut it's tense, or in the heart it's numb. Right? A lot of places can kind of just feel numb or tense and closed, maybe in the head as well. You see, that's a sign that there's actually forms of resistance and wounding there, things that need to be looked at and actually let go of. Right? So your body's intelligent. So moving on, to turn towards your pain is to essentially face it and make it conscious. You're learning to sense into your pain rather than following the usual pattern of avoiding it or resisting it, struggling against it, fighting against it. Essentially, when you're letting yourself truly feel and be with it without trying to distract yourself from it, you actually begin to liberate yourself from it. And this means in part relating to your pain as an explorer relates to a new territory. You're getting to know your pain. You see, for the most part, what you've most likely been doing, maybe not everyone watching, but for the most part, what the typical human on planet Earth does is they experience pain, they avoid, right? It's useful for, not putting your hand in the fire on the stovetop, right, in that famous example. But when it comes to emotional and psychological pain, this is a horrible strategy. This does not work whatsoever, especially in relationships. That's the number one place where this is going to, that's the number one place where you'll figure out that this just does not work. But when you're learning to turn towards your pain, feeling it, not resisting it, as you develop a bit of a taste for it, right, you learn to actually, enjoy it a little bit, you'll realize that the pain ceases to be pain, but more so something to be cared for. You'll find that your sadness or your grief or your shame or the hurt inner child inside of you, it's not something that is to be cast away, but something that needs to be looked at and then genuinely cared for in order to be healed. So the pain actually begins to recontextualize itself. The pain gets recontextualized as something that you actually care about. You learn to open your heart to it, whereas when you're kind of lacking in that maturity and that development, it's just something that you hate and you want to throw away. Right? That's the more immature view of it. Whereas when you kind of develop more, you actually genuinely care about the hurt child within, or like the grief that you experience, or like the sadness that you experience, etc., you'll want to actually fully be with these parts of you rather than disowning yourself or distracting yourself from them, because that is going to cause a lot of suffering. That's where the suffering is actually found. Whereas meeting those things head on and fully, right, and mastering that actually feels very good. It feels authentic. It feels true for you because it is true for you. These are parts of you that exist. They're true for you emotionally. So turning towards our pain is an enormously important step in someone's personal evolution. This is where you're really making the unconscious conscious, and you're beginning to actually, for the most part, take some deep responsibility for your destiny, because what controls a lot of human beings is the avoidance of pain and ignorance. These are massive things that actually control a lot of our behavior. And the second you begin to make that conscious, that's a huge shift in your personal evolution, because these core things that you're avoiding, you're no longer avoiding. These things that are controlling you unconsciously, they are, the grip that they have on you, it's starting to be a bit looser. So you're starting to find some freedom in the midst of that pain. So it doesn't really matter how small the step is, as long as you actually begin to take that step and you keep taking it. That's what's really important here. Because we're conditioned to turn away from our pain or avoid our pain, turning towards it feels very counterintuitive at first. It doesn't feel natural, but I promise you, as you begin to feel into it more and more and more, and you get more intimate with it, you learn to master it, you learn to be with it, you learn to open your heart to these aspects of yourself. It feels more natural to look at them rather than to avoid, because the avoidance is a form of conditioning that you've picked up from culture and the survival programming that you have, etc. Turning towards it feels very healthy, because, well, that is what's healthy in that situation. When you're sad, it's not healthy to endlessly distract yourself from it with TV, right? When you feel shame, it's not healthy to distract yourself with endless Instagram and TV and eating junk food, right? That's not the emotionally intelligent way to handle the feeling. The real psychologically mature way to handle this is to look at it fully, to feel it fully, to be with it fully, to treat it as though it's a real child inside of you who's in pain, because it really is a real child inside of you who's feeling pain. It's all your inner child wounds, for the most part, that are coming out, right? You get very intimate with the little boy or the little girl within who was neglected at age 1, 2, 5, 7, whatever, who didn't get their need met. You're becoming more intimate with your conditioning and your wounding, and this begins to actually heal a lot of it. And then when something like sadness arises, or grief, right, because you lost something, my cat recently died, it's not a problem. It's not something to be avoided. It doesn't like suck. It's not something you hate. It's something that you actually enjoy. It's something that feels natural. It's something that you embrace. Your capacity to embrace life expands. Your capacity to love life expands. You become more conscious. You become more spiritually evolved. You become more wise. So moving on, right? Not quite moving on yet, right? Just keep in mind that it feels counterintuitive at first to enter your pain. But I promise, as you develop the skills and you learn how to move into it, right? You learn to not resist it. You practice some mindfulness meditation. Basically, it'll help you a lot. Feels counterintuitive at first, but it becomes very organic with the right guidance and the right practice and the right intentions and a very sincere heart. So to end your suffering, you need to enter your pain. It's as simple as that. This means getting to know it and its roots. It's exploring it deeply and moving through it slowly but surely. Literally moving through it, because your pain is an energy that wants to actually move, but we resist it. We constrict it, right? Our body tenses up and we like hold it there. We fight against it, and this battle against it, it just represses it. It doesn't allow it to actually have, the expression that it wants, like the tears that want to come out when there's grief. Right? If you repress the grief, they can't come out. Your nervous system stays unregulated, right? Experiences will trigger that wound, and then you'll go all insane. You won't really know what's going on. You'll rationalize the whole thing, and then you'll go on with your life. right? So it's kind of a sad place to be if that's basically you. It's very unconscious and not a very fulfilling existence for the most part. So again, entering your suffering or entering your pain is the way to end suffering, and this basically means getting to know it, getting to know its roots, getting very familiar with it, getting very intimate with it, learning to care for it. And this basically brings you to the present experience. This basically grounds you deeply in this moment right now and who you truly are. This brings you closer to your real nature because you're no longer fighting or avoiding yourself. You're no longer struggling against reality. And all the parts of you that you avoid and don't like and reject, you just project them externally onto other people. So you never really escape it. Right? People who are homophobic, funny enough, they have strong homosexual tendencies that they project onto homosexual men. Right? They don't like homosexuals because they have strong homosexual tendencies that they don't like to look at. They feel embarrassed about it or ashamed of it. They don't want to acknowledge it about themselves, so they project it externally. Fun fact. And there's actually studies done on that, by the way. It's not just me saying random stuff. You can't emerge from your pain unless you enter it. Right? You can't process it unless you enter it. You can't heal it unless you enter it. And this just begins with turning towards it rather than away from it. See, how often do you turn away from your pain? Why are you watching this video? Is it to turn away from pain? Why do you grab your phone and scroll on social media? Why do you go on the TV? Why do you grab your beer after work? When you're stressed, what do you do? When you're sad, what do you do? When you're ashamed, what do you do? When you're embarrassed, what do you do? When you get reactive, what do you do? What's going on? When you get reactive, do you just keep it going? Right? When you get embarrassed, do you just try and cover it up? When there's some kind of discomfort inside of you, some pain, what do you do? Do you meet it fully? Are you able to meet it fully, or do you need some kind of avoidance to it? Right? There's no problem with needing a distraction if it's too great at first, but essentially you're just recognizing what are you doing, right? So that, again, there's no shame in this, but we're just trying to get very, very honest about what are we doing? Oh, I'm avoiding. Oh, I'm repressing. Oh, I subconsciously dislike this part of myself and my avoidance and all this stuff. It's all controlling me. My lower self is in the driver's seat for as long as I keep this pattern here and as long as I don't address this. We're getting very clear on what this means, on how this is going to impact us in our life, right? If I don't embrace these aspects of myself, my ego, my lowest self, my reactivity, this is what's going to be controlling me. I'm going to be an animal. I'm not going to self-actualize. I'm not going to reach my potential. I'm going to live an unfulfilling life. I'm not really going to fully enjoy the fruits of life. I'm not going to be able to do that because I was too unconscious. A little bit, it's quite bleak. Right? I gave you something quite negative sounding, but I hope it hits home because that's the reality of it when you're living unconsciously, right? If you're living unconsciously, how are you going to enjoy life? Life is here now. You need to become aware and present in order to fully be in the experience and enjoy it and live it. Right? All right, moving on. Have compassion for, basically have compassion for yourself when you're doing this as well, right? Keep that in mind. You don't have to be absolutely perfect right away. There's no expectation to meet. You're just coming more and more into contact with yourself at the pace that's appropriate for you. Right? So have compassion for the you who fears doing this, for the part of you who fears doing this. And hold that part of you in the same way that you would hold a frightened child, right? Genuinely caring for that aspect of yourself, quite literally giving that love to yourself. Imagine if you had a child, right? And for those of you who do have children, right? Imagine or just recall that love you had for your kid when they were born, right? That deep sense of care and love. Give that to yourself. Give that to your own vulnerable parts. Give that to your own wounded parts. Redirect that towards yourself, right? You might have a bit of a challenge doing that. That might feel weird or odd or counterintuitive, but that's basically the way to go. Give that love to yourself. It's as simple as that. This is a very direct form of self-love. I'm literally just telling you very directly to love that part of you that is afraid, to be with it fully, to feel it fully, to accept it fully, without needing to change it, learning to feel it and just support that part of yourself, to see it fully, to acknowledge it, to call it out. This is the part of me that's afraid. This is the part of me that is ashamed, etc. You're getting clear about it, you're identifying it, you're bringing it to awareness, you're holding it with acceptance and compassion, you're holding it with care, you're feeling it, you're relating to that part of you. Moving on, you're not really moving on, you're protecting that part of you as well. It feels vulnerable and afraid, right? So you're really protecting these parts of you that just simply never got what they needed when you were a kid. Right? So each of your emotions is worth getting to know very well. Its nature, its purpose, its expression, its containment, its value, your history with it, your use and your misuse with it. Every single one, your anger, your grief, your shame, your bliss, your joy, your excitement, etc. You need to get to know each and every emotion that exists inside of you and see what it's really doing, because emotions can be kind of sneaky, they can be kind of deceptive. One emotion can kind of cover up another emotion, right? If you don't want to feel your shame, you can lash out in anger as a way to defend yourself from feeling the underlying shame that you feel. That anger acts as a mask for the shame. There's also healthy anger, right? There's unhealthy anger, there's healthy shame, there's unhealthy shame, right? You're getting to know this stuff very intimately. You become a student of this stuff. You actually decide to learn this stuff. This is going to help you a lot for the rest of your life and your relationships and your career and your personal well-being, right? Aside from any kind of benefit that you get in your relationship or whatever, don't you just want to be able to sit and enjoy life, to just feel good just sitting? Like, don't you want to just be able to exist and feel okay with who you are, to just fully accept yourself in the moment and just feel good doing that, right? And then let every other part of your life be an expression of your love for yourself and life. Let your life be an expression of wholeness and reality's beauty and perfection. You let your life become an expression of the deep intelligence of life itself, because you embrace it so deeply that you've essentially transcended it. You've transcended the ego. So that's it for this video. If you're interested in working with me one-to-one, you can apply to do so. Link is in the pinned comment. Talk to you later.